People have been saying Joe Burrow is overrated. I just have a question for you. Do we know what the term overrated is? Evan, do me a favor. You're our great, researcher here. Can you look up the term overrated and kind of spin that for the people what the term overrated is, please, if you could?
Rated higher than they should be.
Right. Okay. There we go. Rated higher than they should be. But I think even in nowadays, the term is used in a different realm as well. I think people say, oh, you're overrated because maybe you're not living up to your expectations, or maybe people are pushing you up more of a pedestal than what you should be. Whatever said terminology you want to throw in there, people have been throwing that in there. Joe Burrow's overrated. What product that Joe Burrow, since being healthy for the Cincinnati Bengals, has he proven to people that he's overrated? I'll wait. Do you guys know?
Mm-hmm.
Has he? So I think the fact that, yes, his injuries have been a concern, but when he's been out there, he has led his team to an AFC championship. He has led his team to a Super Bowl. They have put out high potent offenses. I get it. The offense hasn't always necessarily performed up to the best of standards. And, I've talked at a nauseating pace as to why I think that might be the case. But nothing about Joe Burrow's game has screamed overrated. Trust me, if he was overrated, I would say it. And you're saying, oh, Malik, you just live in Cincinnati. You cover the best. I'm a goddamn Celtics fan. I'm the guy that's saying Jason Tatum is overrated. I have no problem with calling an athlete on my team out for being said overrated or being too brash or being too cocky. I just don't see that when I see Joe Burrow. I see a guy that's obsessed with perfection. I see a guy that wants to be successful. And you know what I think? I think confidence scares people. I think confidence makes people uncomfortable. I think people are not confident in their own skin. So you know what? They say, oh, when that guy gets too hyped or gets too whatever, we need to knock him down a couple of pegs. I feel that. I that's what I think it is when it comes to Joe Burrow. I don't think Joe Burrow has done anything to warrant that tag that he's been getting of overrated or not living up to potential. Everything that this guy has shown you has been, hey, I'm that guy, pal. I've been that guy, pal. It's the reason why the team drafted me with the first overall pick. It's the reason why they gave me the contract extension, making me the highest paid player, quarterback in the National Football League. He's deserving of it. He's shown what he could do. People were trying to convince this guy, hey, you know what? Joe Burrow shouldn't even come to Cincinnati before he should pull a Eli Manning. Those are all the things people were saying. Yet still, we push guys like Lamar Jackson, guys like Justin Herbert over Joe Burrow off of what? Because they throw the ball 50 times a game? Because that's their scheme. That's their offensive scheme. And maybe it's a more pleasing style of football compared to the Joe Burrow, play action, the whole. I have no idea. I don't know why we move the goalpost so much when it comes to Joe Burrow. But for me, I just think that it's not always an even playing field. I understand people might get tired of Joe Shiesty or Joe Cool or all the media hype attention. The guy's marketable. That's not his fault that he has I don't even know if he has personality, I'll say that, but it's not his fault that people flock to him. It's not his fault that people find his post-game and pre-game attire appealing. It's not his fault that, women flock to him. That's not his fault. But people seem to be so over the Joe Burrow discussion. And, it's like, oh, Joe Burrow can't be this until he wins a ring. Like that's sort of the notion that a lot of people, the Weird Hill people, die on. But don't let that confuse you. Not winning a ring versus actually performing at a high level, competing at a high level, being the only quarterback in the National Football League that has been able to knock Patrick Mahomes out of the playoffs. Josh Allen ain't been able to do that, right? He was the savior. Everybody's like, oh, Josh Allen's only going to break through this year. I was one of those people who thought last year Josh Allen could have broke through. Then you wanted Tua. They wanted to say Tua. Then they want to say Lamar Jackson because Lamar Jackson has 2 MVPs. Great. Lamar Jackson's a fantastic quarterback. But football is still a team sport at the end of the day. And listen, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. The numbers say when Joe Burrow is on the football field, he's healthy. He has the Bengals either in the AFC Championship or going further. Now this year, we'll see what happens. But we know when the Bengals get in the playoffs, they're making a deep run. You couldn't always say that before about the Bengals in the past. You draft a guy like Joe Burrow, it transcends the franchise. It changes things. Those are just my thoughts. You guys got anything else that you want to add on? I know I've been talking a little bit. Logan, I want to hear more from you.
I think the thing with the overrated and, it goes back to what I said earlier about the what have you done for me lately stuff. I think when somebody who, has been so good when he's on the field is no longer, he also wasn't too great all the time last year when he was healthy, and then he kind of got going again, and then he got hurt again. I think when you have a year like that, and then you have several breakout years at the quarterback position, you had the CJ Stroud year, you had Jared Goff had a great year, Jordan Love had a great year. You have all these guys that are kind of took steps or took leaps that Joe Burrow wasn't necessarily able to continue to do because of the injury, but he's still have already done more things than these people have. So I think that's where the line needs to be drawn. I think when you really try to nitpick Joe Burrow, everybody kind of talks about he didn't do too good in the playoff runs. He did, the defense carried him and all that stuff, which is an argument within its own self. But Joe Burrow is fantastic. There's perks to winning games. There's different ways to win games. There's perks to consistently being in the playoffs. There's perks to consistently winning in the playoffs. And the common denominator for the Bengals has been Joe Burrow when it comes to playoff success and just team success in general. So there's just simply not too many things you can argue. He performs, the team performs, the team makes runs, he puts up numbers. There's just not anything that you can really truly say that warrant him not being in the top 3 to 5 quarterback in the National Football League.
Yeah, I mean that's said as simply as you can say it. Injuries is probably the only thing you could say, and that's not even. I've talked previously about how not all injuries are created equal, right? Where people who have soft tissue injuries are more prone to having them recurring versus hey, if you just fall the wrong way and break your hand or break your arm or someone rolls into you and then you sprain your ankle, is that injury prone? Because anybody who has a 300-pound man roll into their ankle is probably going to sprain it, right?
Yeah.
That's I can't believe Trey Hendrickson didn't get hurt on that one play where the Texans at the end of the game, you just get hit one way the wrong way and suddenly you're hurt. So I don't really hold that against him. I don't see this is constantly he has some sort of hamstring or groin or calf injury that is recurring year over year and getting worse. So really, like you said, when he's on the field, he's playing great. You got a winning record against Kansas City, Buffalo Bills, two of the mainstays in the AFC and the top contenders for the last couple of years. It's definitely been working through the kinks. And if you want to say he's had the greatest supporting cast because T. Higgins and Jamar Chase were there, well, dude was getting absolutely demolished behind that offensive line when he was playing behind for 2 years, just getting destroyed. So you can say, he had a good wide receiver or two, but the entire rest of the offense was what?
Not good.
Right.
Not
where,
good.
Joe Mixon was a good, steady veteran back to have, and the tight ends were just fine. They were fine. They weren't helping you. They weren't a plus weapon that's going out there signing for a whole bunch of money. So again, just because he had one or two good receivers, people like to discount him and say, he's had the best supporting cast when again, go look at that offensive line from that Super Bowl run. Look at each single game where I think it was 3 or 4 straight weeks they had different lineups because of multiple injuries just kept happening. And it's Aaron Donald destroyed the 8th, 9th best offensive lineman that they had that year. Yeah, absolutely. He got him. And this is not to discredit Aaron Donald. It's just to discredit the narrative of hey, Joe Burrow's just had it super easy. You have to have special touch, rhythm, timing, anticipation, all that to be able to do that, not just with your top receivers, but your backups. We see how chemistry gets killed with guys all the time. And it's because Joe Burrow knows how to get the most out of players, knows how to get the best from his receivers, and knows how to place the ball. So he's not even just accurate, he's accurate plus. It's not just completing the pass. It's putting the pass where the defender can't get it. Putting the pass where your wide receiver doesn't get smoked going over the middle by the linebacker. It's just reading leverage. It's all the small things that really make you an elite quarterback.
I love the way you put that. I thought that was so beautifully said.